Ooh, I think you all should eat some donuts, and I can admire the movie cases. We can multitask.
Celebrate Skatemas.
Skatemas.
We printed up some skateboard decks. So we're going to raffle one off. I'll put a description in the description of how to sign up for the raffle. And the next one, the rest of them, they're limited edition. Only 6 of them we will sell. So if anyone wants one, shoot me an email and we'll get it shipped out.
Sign up for the raffle. On most channels, this is where they'd say like smash like and subscribe. We're not going to say that because
Try to eat it.
it's really fibery.
It's very appetizing.
I mean, like.
So I have 2 questions in the description about this episode. You send me an email with the answer, and I'll put it in the raffle, and whoever gets it, I will ship the skateboard to. All right, so welcome back, Richard. You've been gone for a bit.
Thanks, Brian. I've been working.
Yes. Well, and not on this show, just on something else. Well, we are going to do our holiday episode.
I'm excited. Nothing makes me happier and like more excited for the holidays than like getting into holiday movies annoyingly early.
I'm going to let you down a little on that one.
Oh.
Now, the audience is going to know because they've seen the title, but we aren't going to have a Christmas movie.
What?
Wait, no.
What the hell am I wearing this Christmas?
We are going to do a skateboard episode. So we're going to celebrate Skatemas.
Skatemas. It's beginning to look a lot like Skatemas.
Exactly. So here's the first movie we're going to watch for our Skatemas celebration. I'll tape up there.
We're going to watch Gleaming the Cube. This is a fantastic movie, and I'm excited to be a part of this viewing.
And it's our first return actor for one of our movies.
Christian Slater.
He's back. Wow. Do you want to read the back real quick? It's
Brian's adopted brother is killed when he discovers that the shop he works in sends weapons to Vietnam instead of medications. To the police, it looks like a suicide, but Brian knows better, so he skates off to investigate the murder himself. They're leaving out the fact that Brian is also...
Don't give too much away. We got to watch it.
Okay, fair enough. This is a great movie. Stay tuned.
All right, let's go have fun. All right.
It's Christmas creepy. You're welcome.
Creepmas.
All right, so I decided to do something a little different.
Yeah, I gotta say, this is the best Skatemas I've ever had.
Yes. So I decided, I always say we. I keep...
We didn't decide anything, Brian.
I know,
We're
but like I try to include everyone, but I got to remember that I force you people to do this.
We don't help us.
Yes.
We don't talk about it.
So instead of celebrating Christmas, I decided we're going to celebrate Skatemas. We watched 2 movies that I grew up with about skateboarding. And these are my 2 favorite ones. I'm sure anyone who grew up in the 80s and 90s that skated know of these 2 movies.
Bingo! That's it right there! That was nice.
You're in trouble, kid. We have a homeowners association up here. I know my rights. You're gonna hear from us.
I'm just having fun. Aren't you supposed to read us our rights or something, huh?
Have it your way.
Damn it!
Oh my God.
I only knew one of them, Gleaming the Cube. Probably because Christian Slater, more mainstream. I hadn't actually seen Thrashin before.
Well, I mean, now Josh Brolin's pretty mainstream. I mean, he is
Right.
Thanos. He's
Right.
No
And
Country
he
for Old Men.
destroyed this movie.
Oh my god.
His acting in this was
Destructive. But I mean,
You
like,
could have said world shattering.
yeah,
Come
well,
on.
it's fair enough.
Ooh.
You're better at that than me.
I'm very funny.
That being said, like, we all know he was jacked in the Goonies, and this was right after the Goonies. But geez, man, he was shirtless in this. Has Josh Brolin ever not been buff?
Oh, we all know he was shirtless because you would not let it go.
Stop talking about his chocolate nipples.
They're so brown.
All right.
Nice nipples, Josh Brolin. Goddamn! It looks like somebody just did youth makeup on Josh Brolin. Did he always have adult muscles?
But before we get into Thrashing, which I had a feeling we would all enjoy more because it's more Thrashing was more of a skateboard movie, where I think Gleaming the Cube was more of like an 80s, murder mystery kind of, not necessarily murder mystery.
Yeah, the teen whodunit.
Yeah, but with a skateboard background to it.
Yeah.
So it could have been anything could have been in the background for it. They just happened to be skateboarding on this one.
Yeah, it was a murder mystery with teenage angst.
Brian, the skateboard stays in the garage.
What you worried about? It's not gonna shit on the rug.
Smart guy, what do you want from us? You want us to be just like you? Think maybe if I had your haircut, I could sell more policies?
But that being said, there was still a lot of good skating in it. A lot of Rodney Mullen's freestyle, which was reminiscent of Kevin Bacon dancing in Footloose. Which,
Yeah, seriously.
which I'm sure Footloose was first and this copied it, but I kind of look it up and I want to see if
100% Footloose was like a decade sooner than this.
I'm sure Footloose was first, but it just would be fun if it wasn't. And Footloose was copying
but
this.
also there were scenes in there that were just like not one for one, but inspired by Flashdance. Like it was Footloose and Flashdance. This director clearly had some shots that they enjoyed
Maybe the director made those. I don't know. I don't remember Flash.
or admired them.
All right, so let's get going on what actually happened in Gleaming the Cube. Would you like to start?
I would love to start.
I want him to start because I want you to go into Thrashing because I don't want to hear about Josh Brolin's nipples anymore.
But I have so much to say about them.
I can't possibly imagine there being more than you haven't already said.
Listen, I'm gonna be Josh.
nagging you.
I'm gonna be Josh Brolin over here, completely unaware of the evil around me with my brown nipples.
So the first thing I want to say
Where
about
did I
Gleaming the
actually
Cube is when I saw the poster for this, before I even get into the story, I saw the poster before I saw this movie, and I thought Christian Slater's hair was perfect. And I wanted to be just like Christian
Hair
Slater.
is always.
Right, and I always wanted that straight hair. I have curly hair. Like it starts out straight after I wash it, but it gets progressively more curly over the days until it's just like perm curly. And I've hated my fate, but whatever.
I thought you were going to say I hated my face. I hated my face.
I hate my face.
That's
so
not even
much.
what
I'm
we're
gonna rip
talking
it off.
about. Your
I
hair's
know.
on the top.
No, but
He's got hair on his face.
I wanted to enjoy this movie so much when it came out, but I think I was too young to enjoy it. Anyway, Christian Slater, or Brian rather, is
wonder if
this
that's why I liked it
dude
more.
in a
Brian Bias.
Brian bias.
Bias.
You've got a Brian bias. A Brias, if you will.
Taking it too far.
I'm
again.
mad because it was really good and it wasn't mine.
And it was right there. It was
It was.
honestly low-hanging fruit.
I was too busy admiring the Brian bias, honestly. I was really just milking
to grasp
that one.
at the Brias.
All right, let's move on past the Brias.
Moving past the Brias, Christian Slater lives in basically idyllic suburbia with a perfect family and perfect parents.
Oh, no way.
Yeah? Yeah, right.
The most expensive.
Well, I shouldn't tell you this, but I love to watch the skating.
And he is like painfully counterculture for what appears to be no good reason. He's got an adopted brother.
You're still mad because they adopted me, huh? Come on, man. Look, it's been 11 years, all right? You're not my problem.
His adopted brother, who's Vietnamese, works for a Vietnamese businessman. They get along pretty well, but you can tell in the last couple of years they've maybe been growing apart a little bit and struggling to maintain that brotherly bond.
Jeez. Yo, chill out, man. What the hell? Asshole. Asshole?
Well, let's just say like they're both in high school, so they're in their high school rebellion angst.
Yeah, they're both angsty, and Christian Slater is rebelling by actually being rebellious, and his adopted brother is rebelling by being super fucking good at school, I guess.
You left this at home. Shit. Geometry.
I fixed a couple of the answers. You did okay. If you put some effort into it, you might even pass without me.
I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm going with it. Well, and that makes sense because he was rebelling against his older brother's rebellion.
Which one was the older? Did they say?
I think it was probably Christian Slater. He seemed older.
I don't know.
I just know they adopted him 11 years ago.
Yeah, 11 years. He's like, it's been 11 years, man. I think I'm over it by now. Something like
Well, yeah, because even when he met with his dad, he said like, I was a problem before we even adopted him. He was always not a problem. He was always a handful or something.
Yeah.
Before, so.
I was difficult before you adopted him, Dad.
But the Vietnamese adopted brother, and I feel terrible for not remembering the character's name, but he dies so early in the movie. Anyway, at his job, he's just as good at that as he is at school and discovers a discrepancy. He works for a company that does medical supplies, and he's like, these medical supplies seem to weigh too much. I think we're paying too much for shipping. He brings that problem to his boss. His boss is like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to take you off this project. And I'm making him sound like an old white guy from the 50s. You're too smart for your own good. But he actually kind of mansplains it, tells him that he's not good at it, and he's going to put somebody else on it because he's gotten it wrong. And he's like,
need some more experience.
Maybe I need an experienced person to finish the job, okay?
I need someone more experienced. He's like, I'm not wrong about this. So he investigates and he does this little own Scooby-Doo adventure to dig into what happened. And there's an old white guy that owns the warehouse that he does the digging at. And the old white guy's like, this is my place. I'm the owner. I'm pointing at a gun at you. Come with me. They take him. They question him. His overzealous, also Vietnamese sidekick murders the kid.
Rain in
Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
He murders him on accident, and
Because he's done this a lot of times and had it done to him.
had it done to him, which leads me to believe he's way too kinky for a boy his age.
I don't know what happened. I've done this before. I've never killed anyone. It's been done to me. I'm still alive.
He's like, I'm so good at this. I don't know what went wrong.
Well, you say a boy his age. I want to look up. He's probably like 35, playing a 17-year-old.
That's
how it goes.
racist, but also
That's Hollywood.
it's
more
Hollywood,
sexist than
but
racist.
also, I mean,
Have you seen Grease?
he dies, and Christian Slater then goes off on his own Scooby-Doo-esque adventure, but actually tries to incorporate the police when he discovers what happens.
He goes off on it because they make it look like a suicide, and he doesn't believe his brother would kill himself.
They do. They hang him in a hotel room, one that he didn't even check into, by the way. Relevant plot information.
Really, the detective was just kind of shit at his job because, I mean, there's so much things pointing at, like...
Well, then it wasn't
And
the
he
main
had gum
detective.
in his mouth,
He was
too.
pretty good at his job, but it was the other dude on the crime scene that made it seem like it was cut and dry, and that detective was like, what do I know? I feel like they did a bad job of showing that he was just jaded and over the bullshit. Like, he could have solved it, but people were getting in his way. Another teen kid killed himself. It must be drugs. But where are the drugs?
What do I know? There any sign of drugs?
You know, he wasn't into drugs. Christian Slater didn't believe it, like you said. And so he tries to unravel the last day of his brother's life and kind of finds a note with some Vietnamese writing on it, takes it to some people to try and interpret it, which that's a pretty funny scene. Goes back to the hotel to talk to the lady that cleaned the room and found the body, and that's a pretty funny scene.
He was my brother.
You think I'm blind or stupid?
Just happens to run into the guy that strangled his brother to death. Doesn't realize that that's the dude.
I didn't even realize that was the dude.
But now they know that Christian Slater needs to be targeted.
Case.
He's on the case. It's Christian Slater. And he
Before he joined Archer.
Take a right on Sunset.
Sorry.
Christian Slater on the case. My Christian Slater is just getting hoarse. I'm going to stop doing it.
Yeah, and actually your Christian Slater, Jack Nicholson impersonation actually kind of worked, and now you've kind of went off from that.
I'm trying to get a little more high, like a little less Jack Nicholson, but that just makes me sound more like Casey Kasem.
Introduce the top 40. You know who Casey Kasem is?
The countdown will begin this Sunday afternoon at 1, right here on the radio station you grew up with, Music Radio 138. Oh, fuck.
No.
Yeah, no big deal.
America's Top 40. Oh, man, like the first 25
years
years of life.
You hear his voice. His voice is in Ghostbusters.
Because Christian Slater was on the case, and he's chasing down these people that murdered his brother.
He's skating down these people that murdered his brother. Let's be honest, because it's Christian Skater.
Eventually, he has the really good idea of, what if I date the girl that was dating my brother?
I could talk to his girlfriend.
I could make her my girlfriend.
Okay.
Totally happens. Spoiler alert.
I don't think that was the intent.
Hate that. I hate that so much.
Right,
because that's just...
It's not what happened, because
It's like a trauma bond.
Brian, if we want to get to an 8 o'clock movie...
He was like, no, I don't even think it was that. That's somewhat more reasonable. I think it's even less reasonable because what he did was...
He just used her to get to her
Yes,
dad.
he was using her to get to her dad's office and go through his shit. So it was...
And I think, okay, so I can accept it
and
because...
then the trauma bond happened, because they did bond.
They did bond. But like, he bonded with her as a friend, she bonded with him as like a potential future partner.
Actually, I think she bonded with him as her teenage rebellion coming out. Because my dad won't be happy with me talking to an American boy. She kept saying over and over.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe he was just a phase for her.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense, too.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. My father won't let me see American boys, even as friends.
When he was a skater, it was a little too much for her. When he cleaned up, then it was like, all right, you're still rebellious.
Just rebellious enough.
When he was a skater boy, she said, see you later, boy.
Oh, fuck. He wasn't good enough for her. But now he's a movie star.
Playing on his guitar.
Fucking stop. No.
We're going to get copyright infringement. Shut up.
So he gets...
now I'm angry.
Eventually he has
He's turning green.
He's turning green. Ooh, don't be Brian angry.
You don't like me when I'm angry.
Fun fact, Brian's been pretty buff in a previous life.
That's because he's always angry.
He's always angry. So when he embraced Zen, that's how we get the man we've come to know and love today. But he...
no, I'm only not angry when I watch 80s skate movies.
Right?
For Skatemas.
Skatemas.
So he goes up to her and he's like, hey, let's be friends. And she's like, I can't be your friend.
Have a Coke.
Yeah, have a Coke, because now we're friends. Have a Coke. And she's like, hey, thanks for the calories and the product placement, but it's not going to work because my dad and my mom would never accept us hanging out ever because you're way too white and also just look at you.
It's less about you are what you are and more about like you're not what I am.
Yes.
Brian, you look at yourself.
Yeah. I get it.
And she's like, can't do it. And then, so of course he does what any reasonable person would do, which is go home and rip all the posters off his wall and throw away all of his like punk skate clothes and start wearing his dead brother's clothes.
Take out his earring.
Well, yeah, because
cut his hair,
Cut his
shower.
hair.
He showered.
He took a shower. Probably the first shower, because we're seeing him do a lot of firsts. So clearly he's never showered before. And then he shows back up and she's like, whoa, you don't stink. Yeah, we can hang out.
Yeah,
well, I got his dad. He's pumping up the bike. Notice when
his dad crashed in the garage.
When
his
he went all
mom
preppy,
dropped a glass in the sink.
When he went preppy, he stopped the skateboard and got a bike. I like that little touch. Like, yeah, if you're gonna be preppy, you gotta ride a bike.
Yeah.
And then his dad, crashes
That
the car.
that was a little bit more subtle than the. He doesn't have a backpack. He carries a briefcase to school. That wasn't so subtle. But then she's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we can hang out now."
You're just right at the level.
Right
your level of rebellion is just right.
She just looks at him and she goes, I like your briefcase. Instead of briefs.
Did him. So they hang out. She's like, come over to my place. We'll hang out and talk about stuff. They go to her place. They talk about stuff. We get some good emotional plot progression going on at that moment. He's like
Slater acting.
Yeah, and some Christian Slater actually, acting, doing his kind of squinty-eyed Christian Slater thing, being a cool, down-to-earth dude. And he's like,
Where's the bathroom?
hey, can I use your bathroom? And he doesn't use the bathroom and instead goes through the double doors into the office of her father and starts looking for clues.
And just stealing shit. He pocketed everything.
He took
a nice lighter.
He took the lighter because the thing is, though, he wasn't just stealing shit. He was planning. He was building a plot.
Except the lighter. Because he ended up keeping it in his house. He
Right,
thought
but
he was going to use the lighter and
he didn't plant it at the scene?
No, because she found it.
What's this?
It's nothing. It's just an old lighter.
This is my father's.
No. I got it at some army surplus store.
In his house. So he's just a kleptomaniac.
But I mean, you're jumping ahead.
Right.
We're going to get there.
I know, but like he's just stealing for stealing's sake.
We learned
Some of it was.
We learned two things in that scene. We learned how far his character was willing to go to learn about his brother's death, and we also learned that he was in fact her rebellious phase because she's like, BTW, my parents don't know you're here. You have to sneak out the back. Tee-hee, get out.
My parents just pulled into the driveway. You better go out the back door.
Didn't they know I was coming over? Why'd you risk that?
Just hurry.
And he has to get out, and he jumps over the fence, and he does a really good job of that.
And that she's incredibly gullible because she comes in like, what are you doing? Stuffing stuff in your pocket. Oh, I'm just looking at a map. I've never seen a map before.
You're a long ways off from the bathroom.
I snuck into your dad's office because I wanted to see a map.
Good job, writers.
A little bit gullible.
Later on that night, he goes out to the warehouse where the white guy abducted his brother. To sneak in, he locks some security guards in their little security guard trailer and then rolls a flaming can of gas on his skateboard underneath a propane tank that he loosened up, that he lit with a lighter, and then it explodes and he leaves behind the hat that he took from the desk, making it look like her father did this thing to like drive a wedge between him and his partner, I guess.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
And as the plot progresses from there, they kind of know it was Christian Slater, but it doesn't.
Yeah, they found a skateboard.
Yeah, and they come after him
on motorcycles. So he outruns 3 motorcycles on a skateboard.
Which is totally plausible.
Yeah, especially in like a suburban area. I mean,
I just think it's because he's little and like zippier. Because I mean, you can be quite agile on a bike, but realistically, you go too far and you down the dang thing. You know, with the skateboard, you can go like,
and you could be zippy, yeah. And they were trying not to kill him in public because they wanted to get him somewhere else.
We just want to talk. They would not have been able to hear each other over that, honestly.
No, I mean,
Mr. Lawyer wants to see you.
Yeah, what for?
He wants to talk.
Yeah, right.
What?
Really, all you do is knock him off the skateboard and take his skateboard.
Seriously, and then he can't get away.
Stick.
Like
down.
tasers existed at that point. There's a lot of options that they had, but they were just chasing him around. Shoot, what was the next thing that happened after that? They all get into an accident with a car where he goes over a police car, and one of them on their motorcycle crashes into the police car. The other two miss, or no, another one crashes, and the third one gets away. So these three people, 2 of the motorcycle riders and Christian Slater, they get caught by the police and taken in for questioning. The police are doing a really good job of saying, "You don't know what you're talking about, kid," to Christian Slater. But then as soon as he leaves the police station, because they didn't bring him up on charges, they're like, "Hey, you Asian guys."
Woohoo, stop. We gotta stop. We missed one major plot point.
What's that?
And that is the guy who killed his brother was killed and Christian Slater saw it.
That's
he
right,
snuck
and
into
that's
the
why
backseat of the
that's
vehicle.
why he went to the warehouse in the first place, and why he was willing to go so far,
Because
manipulating the girl because
he didn't see, he heard his brother's murderer get killed, and he heard them talking.
Okay, so I'm going to rewind a little bit more because he was using that piece of paper we talked about that had the list of medical supplies written in Vietnamese on it as a clue. Somebody started following him. And so he doubled back behind that guy, followed that dude until that dude made a phone call, jumped in the back of his car. Then that dude went to meet with his bosses, and the bosses weren't happy with what was going on. And he's like, listen, man, it's getting too hot. Get me out of the country and give me a bunch of money. And they're like, we'll get you out of the country, but we're not giving you any money. And then one of them like karate kicks the gun out of his hand. Wha-cha.
Don't give me a jerk-off hand job.
I think that's my favorite line ever. Don't give me a jerk-off hand job.
And there's a tussle, and then one of them picks up the gun and shoots him.
Yeah.
We don't see all of the action because we see Christian Slater hiding in the backseat.
Laying on his grip tape.
Yeah, who does that?
Like
He's
face
like,
on the
how
grip tape.
comforting. I love it here.
But yeah, and that's basically by all that going on is how he pieces together. We don't need to go into the details. How he pieces together that warehouse is somehow attached to his brother's death. The reason I said that detective sucks is because he tells the detective, like, look, I don't think my brother killed him. I witnessed a murder, and the cop's like, fuck off.
Look, I'm telling you, it happened right here. I'm not lying.
Oh, no? You gotta hear what it sounds like from where I'm standing.
Yeah, seriously. It would have been different if they had written in, like, then where's the evidence? Somebody got shot. Where's the blood? Because somebody came back and cleaned up the scene, right? The car wasn't there.
Right, yeah.
Somebody could have shoveled up all the dirt that had blood on it or shoveled a lot of other dirt over it.
Yeah, because he took him back then, like, well, there's nothing here. But just how quickly they wrote him off, I was like, But...
And so then he felt like he had to investigate this on his own, which is why he felt like he needed to really infiltrate into this dude's house and manipulate the girl.
But then it was also because of the girl recognizing the boss man. He goes, who is that guy? And she goes, oh, it's blankety blank. And he's like, that's the acronym that's on the side of the building. Yeah. And then that
on the paper too, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, that's a big correlator.
White man supplies.
Yes.
White man supplies.
You need a medical supplies.
I'm pretty sure that's their supplier.
Yes, you need a medical supplies white man's.
And then at some point in there, the bad white man,
he kidnaps the girl.
Before he kidnaps the girl, Christian Slater comes over and he's like, I need to get back into that office. And he's like, happens to be on the wall of her backyard at just the right moment when bad white man is holding her at gunpoint, and Vietnamese dad is like, let my daughter go, man. Christian Slater comes crashing in through the window. He shoots the guy in the chest, uses the hole where a window was as a convenient exit, which, by the way, how many houses have a floor-to-ceiling window?
Yeah, in
that
one
was pretty
single
great.
piece.
Yeah, he gave him a convenient exit.
He gave him a convenient exit, yeah. And
a door right
the wife
next door,
comes in, and like you pointed out, not putting pressure on the woman, she's like, my husband is bleeding to death.
Help me. It's like, help yourself.
I mean, like you said, you put pressure on it, but even you said you just poke your finger in it.
Stick your finger in there.
No, don't do that.
Poke your finger.
Not everyone knows what to do. Probably what I.
My favorite part about that scene
like, oh, thank you.
is how committed that actor was to his death, because he was like this.
He was twitching. Oh no! Like before, when he's laying there, he's twitching,
and then at the end, his mouth was wide open. And he was just like.
So, like, did he die?
Ugh, I would be such a.
Oh yeah, he was dead. He got shot like right here.
Ooh.
But it's Hollywood. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger got shot there, and he's fine.
But that was Last Action Hero, and he was only fine because he got back into the movie.
They're still in the movie.
Can't push them off.
So basically, he goes back, gets all his friends together. Tony Hawk, the Pizza Hut delivery boy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Tony Hawk.
Gets them all together and runs after.
Actually, before that.
Okay,
Before
that.
that.
Oh boy.
He went to Yabo's house in the middle of the night, and he's like,
he got his friends together.
My board is trashed, and I need a new board. And Yabo made for him a diamond plate board, which looked sick as shit.
Board montage.
Remember, no, I want the black wheels.
Right, it'll be a harder ride. They're only faster.
No. Black ones, please. Brian, it's a rougher ride on the street. All they are is faster. Right.
You gotta do
It's like he knew that they were getting ready for a car chase.
No, I was being Yabo. This is a harder ride. It'll only be faster.
I know, but do the response.
Exactly. It's so bad.
I don't even know if he actually says exactly, but we'll show it.
Right here.
Right.
Oh no, it's way earlier.
Right.
But Yabo, by the way, had the coolest fucking bedroom, right?
It was literally like a tunnel, like underground.
No, he lived in a bomb shelter, like
Fail math, not brothers, right?
like a post-Soviet scare bomb
Is that not a tunnel
shelter.
under the ground?
Well, no, a tunnel goes somewhere.
Well, it was a part of a
It
tunnel.
was a tube. I'll give you that.
It was tunnel-esque.
It was tubular. Totally tubular.
No.
It's a thing the teenage mutant.
It's a bomb shelter. He lived in a bomb shelter. He put a little mini ramp in there, which was really cool because they're skating the mini ramp earlier.
And it was just his little skateboard workshop, and that was really rad. And
I remember being a kid
wanting
watching this
that
movie, and the two things I wanted was I wanted their the ramp from Thrashin I wanted in my backyard, and I wanted to live in a bomb shelter under the house so I could just put a mini ramp and skate.
Very reasonable requests.
Yeah,
I would say.
Gleaming the Cube is a culturally significant movie because that was where they brought in all the big skateboarders. We saw some great skating, and it was like the first time it was like really brought into mainstream. This was a movie that came out with skateboarders as a main character.
Well, and Gleaming the Cube was a mainstream movie. Christian Slater was a big deal at the time, but also they were talking about normal white-collar criminals trying to smuggle guns and ammunition out of the United States, which was a real thing that was happening at the time.
About the storyline of this movie is very close. It's Beverly Hills Cop.
It happened.
It's Beverly Hills Cop with skateboards.
That's true.
It was his partner, his brother. He goes to investigate, and they're smuggling.
The only thing it was missing is a 7-foot-tall Amazonian blonde woman.
Oh yeah, well. He had some cool shirts. He had a Megadeth shirt. He had Suicidal Tendencies, which I loved Suicidal as a kid. And his name was Brian, so I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I love this. It was another one of those great 80s movies that had the theme song written just for the movie, and it kind of fit. Most of the time they don't fit, but this one kind of fit.
The only thing it didn't have was a freeze frame at the end.
It didn't. And it
had montage.
It sort of did. Not as good as Thrashin', but it had a sort of montage.
Yeah, I mean the angry freestyle skate was a that's still a montage. Music montage of him skating.
I gotcha. He was emotional, but
yeah, but nothing compared to the next movie with montage wise. But there was at least some.
The next movie was half montage.
Yeah. This would be the worst place to skate, man. There'd be like a low rock or a nail or something.
We're not there yet.
I know.
We're at the heroic scene where he assembles the Avengers and all the skaters get together. They crest the hill at the same time with the Pizza Hut truck behind them. With the Pizza Hut truck behind them, and there's like and you can see him coming up over the hill, and they look so cool. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck are these skaters gonna do to an armed thug who's abducted some other dude in a police car, holding the girl at gunpoint, like doesn't give a shit about anybody's life? How are these skaters going to stop this? Well, they're just driving up the hill and they see they can't get through this Pizza Hut truck that's playing chicken with them.
You don't play, no, not just playing chicken against Tony
Hawk.
You don't,
and you don't play chicken with Tony Hawk. The Hawk don't flinch.
Especially in a pizza.
Especially in a game of chicken.
When you're hopped up on pizza,
Hawk will always win against the chicken.
Yeah, a hawk will always win, unless it's a chicken hawk.
Yeah, you beat me.
But they spin out and turn the other way, and as they're going back down the hill, Christian Slater's coming up the hill, and they're like, fuck that, and they go down a different street because Christian Slater's there, I guess.
I mean, don't just hit it with your car.
The bad guy's not driving. It's a guy he sees on the street just says, get in.
He just grabbed them back, and he's not necessarily a great driver. Wow. Which, how unfortunate is this? I just said he's not necessarily a great driver. Because he's a rando off the street.
He's a what?
A rando off the street. A random guy off the street. He's not like, he didn't pull over the Corvette dude.
Oh, it's not the Corvette dude.
The Corvette dude, right?
I forgot.
Hey! The guy who hit you isn't a cop.
No shit.
So go get him.
Thanks a lot, pal.
If he pulled over the Corvette dude, like if he held the Corvette dude at gunpoint, they'd have gotten away. But he didn't. He held at gunpoint some guy that got out of like a sedan and was like, drive this police car really fast away from everybody. At gunpoint. The guy's scared. It doesn't matter who he is.
I'm sorry, when you get in a Corvette and put it in drive, it's just not cool. You need like when you're doing a chase scene, you got to put it in first, and like it's just like he puts it in drive and
yeah, because it was
like 0 to 60 in like 5 minutes. Like
yeah, it took him. We even said something about that.
But like that just the chase scene, you see him shifting gear. Like,
well, but the automatic transmission Corvette was actually a really cool thing at the time.
It was never cool.
If he sped
Ford
up
was
too
trying to push
fast,
it.
he would have ripped poor Christian Slater's arms right off because he was holding on to
and
the
he was
back
holding
the
on. He's like,
whole
right,
time
because
on
as they
his
were getting away, the
skateboard.
cop car like scrapes against the Corvette. Christian Slater
not a
pulls
cop.
up. That's not a cop, and he's like, "Thanks, man."
I know.
Let's go get him, and he's like, sure.
He didn't say, "Let's go get him." He's like, "Go get him."
Oh yeah, and then he was like, why are you attached to my
and
car?
then
he's
pull
like,
a Fast and Furious move where he goes under the truck. You go from one to the other.
That was actually pretty sick. That was pretty sick. And he traded the Corvette for the Domino's truck, which I get because
Pizza
his
Hut,
buddies were.
Get your
sorry.
product placement right.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
What have you
Pizza
done?
Hut.
We're gonna get in trouble.
Damn it. But he's like, clearly you want to trade the Corvette for Tony Hawk's pizza truck, but a little 4-cylinder pizza truck is not going to catch up with a cock car as fast as a Corvette, especially when it's fully loaded with like 6 other skater dudes. This truck was laden.
But it's family.
But family. This was Fast and the Furious before Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, exactly.
The assemblage of skaters behind them was so intimidating that eventually they get into a car accident, the police car, driven by the rando from the streets. White guy gets out with the girl, runs through traffic, hops over a divider. They're running, and eventually she kind of gets away from his grip. Christian Slater shows up, does this big jump, and like kick flips him in the face with a skateboard, and that's the climax.
I don't remember any of that.
And then he's just laying on the That's how he was a hero. Like, and he broke his Diamondback, super modern, cool looking skateboard.
What about the part where he...
The guy's
and he
face.
had the road rash
Oh, the
on
road
his
rash.
Real bad
face.
road rash right here, where he had a scratch earlier. So he always bails the same way, breaks his fall with his left cheek.
This is probably where the Terminator and John Connor entered the LA Wash.
It might be.
Oh yeah, that's right. because they turn left down into the LA Wash, and it looks just like where the Terminator
where
goes into the
he
wash.
ramps off the semi truck. One of the greatest stunts in a movie. Oh, it's such a... We won't go on the Terminator 2. The ending, the credit scene. I'm assuming it's Rodney Mullins because he was one of the best freestyle skaters at the time. Like the little freestyle skating in the credits is great.
Yeah, you were saying that was a lot like his actual childhood because his dad built that concrete platform for him to like a 10 by 10 where he would practice.
If you ever get bored, look up some Rodney Mullen documentary, like how he was a little kid. His father wouldn't let him skateboard, and he talked to his father to let him skateboard. And
I mean, that is the evolution of art, really, when you think about it. So it's just kind of how it is.
He eventually did. He eventually changed, but like, I don't want to go into that because I could talk for hours about old skate stuff. Because
I mean, but that's why you chose these movies
for
with your Christmas rope and dope.
So,
can anyone tell me what this actually means?
It's an intangible. 9/10 of the people don't grasp it, so I guess you're safe for now.
So they do explain it in the movie.
But we were bantering, so I missed it.
It's like a state of mind.
Yeah. The cube, Brian. It's a place that you skate when you let go.
What did the guy said it? It's undefinable. Yeah. Yabo tells it to him in the bomb shelter. He's like, you're always gleaming even Christian Slater, the leader of their little ragtag gang of skaters, didn't know what gleaming the cube was.
Yeah.
I mean, different. Brian, you gleam the cube. Huh? You're in worse shape than I thought.
And Yabo was like, bro, you're the one that's doing it. You're so out there on the edge.
Yeah, only people who get into the right ability and frame of mind can gleam into the cube and become the best skaters. And a very small percentage can gleam the cube. And he said, but you are one that's doing it. So he was kind of giving him the motivation, like, you got this, you can do this, you're good enough.
I wonder what the cube is.
It's a
Thing you
three-dimensional box.
Oh my god.
that you can look at.
Yeah.
I meant in the...
So, Roller Babies.
Fuck, that movie. I actually watched that recently. That movie's so bad.
But it was from the 80s, so it's gotta be good.
Well, how about, no, I mean, I don't want to go on a list of like 80s movies.
There's some bad 80s movies out
And
there.
Roller Babies is one of them.
Yeah.
That movie is so...
You know, I got a lot to say about it, but I'm gonna tone that down, and I'm just gonna say I'm surprised how well it holds up in its political correctness. Like it was very sensitive for the time, which is cool to see. The plot is thin at best. The story is thin at best, but the acting is pretty good. I wouldn't recommend it to watch, but if somebody was a skater, I'd say, well, this is this. You'll want to see it because, you know, it's a skate-themed whodunit murder mystery.
All right.
Fun little menagerie of things there.
Your thoughts?
I definitely was surprised too, especially with the detective when they originally find his brother's body and he goes, some Chinese kid, and he goes, he's not Chinese. And he goes, they all look the same. And he's like, no, they don't.
I know this kid's Vietnamese.
Well, they all look alike, you know.
No, they don't.
I was like, nice touch. Like, I like when they do that kind of stuff, when they just like poke and prod at the fact that that idea in general is not okay. And I was just like, that is, like you said, forward thinking. And it's just nice to see that in an older movie. I really liked a lot of the scene direction, and I really liked a lot of the camera-ing. I think that it was very cinematic and it was produced very, very well. And I like when movies look good, honestly. I would be willing to watch it again. I don't know if I'd run up to my best friend and go, oh my God, you have to watch this movie. But like, I think it held up well. I think it definitely stands out as a high quality 80s movie for sure.
And Christian Slater totally Christian Slatered.
Yeah, it was the hair. It was after he showered.
So, yeah, I mean, and I'll bring this up again. This is our second Christian Slater movie on the show. I will say Pump Up the Volume to me, even though Pump Up the Volume I think is a better movie. But Gleaming the Cube, this movie is 100% nostalgia for me. I think this is a great movie because of what it represents to me. Watching it, taking that out, I realize it's a generic, like a low budget version of Beverly Hills Cop.
Foul mouth. Fuck you, man.
Pretty good, a fun romp for like an 80s skate movie. Is it something that I would say like, oh, you need to watch it? It's not that great of a movie, but for me, nostalgia, it's the greatest movie of all time. So.
And it has your name in it.
You're right. Yeah, so I think Disney has more violence in some of their movies than this. So, yeah, I love it. So.
Yeah, Thanos.
That is Gleaming the Cube,
Ooh.
starring Christian Slater.
We gleamed it.
That calendar is quite coy.
That was good.
It's too coy.
That joke was really fishy, even for you.
You think you're pretty smart, don't you? You think I'm an asshole?
We're back.
We're back. All right, so we just watched Gleaming the Cube. I don't know which one I like more, this one or the other one, but this is one of my favorite skate videos. So now we've got another movie, and this is our second movie for Skatemas.
Skatemas. I don't have a pun for that one. Didn't have enough time, but that's okay. So, what is Thrashin?
Thrashing starring, did you read the name on the front?
Josh Brolin.
What?
Right after Goonies, he went and made
Baby
Thrashing.
Brolin.
Yes.
I've never heard of this.
This is a great, I love this one.
That's Josh Brolin.
Thanos.
Oh.
So, yeah, this is Thanos' skate movie.
He's a baby.
Yes.
He's a little
Yeah, this is like 85, 84.
So
Also, the cover is so incredibly grainy. I'm like, this is production quality, guys. I'm excited.
Were you even born in 85 or 84?
No. I wasn't even conceptualized.
our parents were right, man. If you skate too much, you're gonna go on to want to like destroy the world. This guy turned into Thanos.
There you go. Skating is the introduction to the dark side. So let's go watch Thrashin'. Whew, so we can move on to...
So movie number 2 was Thrashin'. You were psyched about that movie because this is like the most skatey skate movie from the 80s.
This was a...
From the skaties.
Yeah, but this is later 80s.
It's the ladies.
Ladies. This was a skateboard movie written about skateboarding.
By skateboarders, for skateboarders.
Probably not that
Filmed
far,
by
but-
skateboarders.
Probably filmed by some parts of it filmed by skateboarders, but definitely written as a skate, not like Gleaming the Cube, which was probably another movie just with skateboard added to it. This was all skateboarding.
Like vandals or juvenile delinquents. Troubled youth.
No, thrashing. It's just an aggressive style of skating. You know, we thrash.
All right, so Thrashin' stars a young, right off the Goonies, Josh
Thanos.
I'm a jerk.
Thanos.
Thanos. Well, also Jonah Hex.
Oh yeah, I always think of him as No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men. He was very good.
Yeah. So
And Sicario, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
He was really... Okay, Josh Brolin is a fantastic actor who does a lot of fantastic dramatic acting as an old guy, and he's a big buff dude. But holy crap, has he ever not been big buff?
When he was a kid, he was just waiting to be an adult so he could look right.
I'm so sad for his mom.
And his nipples?
They're very brown in this movie.
He's definitely not
They're
sad for his
so
nipples.
brown.
I'm living for Josh Brolin's nipples in this. I'm sorry, guys.
They're so brown.
They're like milk duds.
He only tanned them. He went into the tanning bed wearing nothing but a full unitard. He cut little nipple holes out and he just tanned them.
For like the first 10 tan sessions, and then he just went out in the California sun and got the rest of his tan.
Yeah, I was like, wait till they get a load of these.
I got the tannest titties I know.
That's the most Jack Nicholson thing that's been said all night.
But I can't do an impersonation of him.
Wait till they get a load of me.
And the other people, the only one I realized is the guy from Lost Boys. He's one of the Lost Boys is in it. The girl from just one of the guys and Twin Peaks.
Yep.
Is in it. I'm pretty sure that's the boyfriend from Nightmare on Elm Street, but I'm probably wrong. I don't know. He's been in a lot of things. I recognize him. I just don't know.
About that.
I just don't know what he's just one of those guys who I've
Yeah, the villain,
Yeah.
the bad guy. And I
dagger.
recognize his face too, and I can't remember from where. But I'm sure you're going to do that thing that you do where it's like bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, I can do that. We'll see with some of his movies because he's been in a lot. I know.
Yeah. And then there was one of the protagonist crew was totally a dude, and I was like, that is a girl dressed as a boy.
His name is because I'm convinced that's a girl.
So vocally through the whole movie. I'm telling you, the young boy with the short hair is gotta be a girl around their age with their chest strapped down. Totally a guy.
And he ended up writing some pretty good movies.
And he ended up writing 2 movies that I loved.
That's a high pitch.
I was about to say, we just went up a whole octave for that one.
Upstairs, you went up like 100 dB, and down here, you go up like an entire octave.
It happens.
Yeah.
We're very proud of you.
Yes.
Vocally dynamic.
Yes, it's excitement.
Ooh.
It's good excitement. I don't. What were the movies that he wrote? I can't remember.
Neither can I can't remember his name.
I know.
We're the best at this.
I mean, he was a guy either way. So
Yes. Which is very true that the whole point of this was You are
Very
obsessed
wrong.
with this.
Nipples?
Rolling nipples!
His eyes look just like the girl from just one of the guys.
I didn't see it. I personally didn't. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just said I didn't see it.
It's fair.
Which is fine, yeah.
It's fair. It's fair. And his voice was so high pitched.
Well, he was probably hadn't hit puberty yet. That's why they didn't let him go to the party. He was
My
too
voice
young.
was deeper than that when I was 3.
Not just 5 minutes ago or 3 seconds ago. It wasn't.
Because it was for dramatic effect.
Maybe.
And I was so excited. Are you telling me he was that excited the entire movie?
Yes, he was in a movie.
Yeah, he was going skating with Josh Brolin.
He was thrashing. What's more exciting than thrashing?
Rolling nipples!
He was thrashing with those nipples. I mean, how else do you get a... But no, I mean, remember when they went to the party, they didn't let him go because he was too young. So...
This is a true fact.
Would you like to sum up a little bit of what happened in Thrashin?
I mean, I want to sound super lazy right now and just say that it was basically Romeo and Juliet, but nobody died.
It's from the valley?
I think so.
Chrissy! How many times have I told you? You hang around here, you hang out with daggers.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Because realistically, I mean, the guy comes onto the scene and they're all skating, and there's obviously the good skater guys and the bad skater guys and the daggers and the, what were they, the hill?
The Capulets.
They were from the valley.
From the valley, yeah.
But,
you had the daggers and the valley kids, right?
Yeah.
And so he
Would they
catches
spray paint on the
eyes.
skate? Would they spray paint on the skateboard?
Locals.
Yeah, they were the local. They were the local skaters.
Gotcha. So the locals and the daggers, and then I can't remember exactly where he went, but he kind of went into like a daggers den, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah, it was
a
very
daggers
West Side
den.
Story that way.
Look, I don't think we should be here. Why not? This is the daggers' place.
It was locals and daggers instead of sharks and jets.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all sorts of like movie parallels or plot parallels, I would say, to a lot of that. Falling in love with someone on the opposite side of the tracks or whatever, and so like they catch eyes while they're at the skate park, and then her friend drags her off, and then it turns out that her brother is in charge of the daggers, but she's now got a thing for him, and so they like sneak off and they go on a big magical adventure in downtown LA and go
Which happens to have like a local
Star
fair.
Walk and in the local fair and
Hollywood Boulevard.
and all these.
Casual sex stores.
And they stay up till 5 a.m. and she gets all in trouble by her brother, and then it's all.
Don't
just...
drink that.
I've got to say, my favorite part of that whole thing.
The orange juice was spoiled. I mean, that was a plot
The orange
point.
juice was
It really
spoiled.
was.
Don't drink that. Ugh, it's foul.
My favorite part of that whole walk, though, was when they did pass by the casual sex store, and he was like,
And he stops and he's like,
and she's like, fucking, and just kept on going. That was really good.
Rolling nipples!
All right, so yeah, you gave a really broad overview of the...
Up until like just before the build to the climax. Like that's the first and second act right there.
Yep. So what happened in the third act?
Oh. Well, first of all, he was supposed to do this downhill competition
Before
thingy.
that, remember the jousting.
Well, yeah, but they talked
That
about the
didn't happen
downhill
yet.
competition.
That didn't happen
Okay,
yet either.
let her go. Let's see where she's going.
I'm
I
on
might be
my
wrong.
own
Yeah.
journey.
Okay.
Let her go on her, yeah.
Rolling nipples!
So he was supposed to be competing in a downhill, which was like $1,000 grand prize.
Yeah.
And before that, he was doing like a different little local competition. And the daggers, they sabotaged him on his run by throwing a bunch of jacks down into the pit. And he fell, and he was all mad about it. And I don't think is that where he broke his arm?
Was bored, unexplainably falls off.
That's jacked up. No, it was during the
No,
jousting thing. Okay.
But they had that great shot where they're like, it was the daggers.
It was them. I know it was. It was very awkward, but it was very.
Daggers.
They're like, we really want you to know who's at fault.
But they're all like in a group together, like right. Like that's Scooby-Doo.
And he throws it, catches it, daggers.
Rack focus on them, like all in a group, like
We did it. And you're like,
Don't
oh.
skitter away.
They were like little weird rat people. It was terrifying.
A lot of Scooby-Doo like comparisons, and
Oh
that's
my
a very
God.
Scooby-Doo-ish like.
And it was hilarious how like it went from kind of like 80s feeling, we're going to suspend disbelief with this just being relatively close to reality, to 80s slapstick mocking the 70s.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Come out and play.
But it was like some of it was just like the reaction shots were really cheesy. Ooh. Like it's like it's like we need to fill more space. So let's just shoot a bunch of reaction shots, and they're all like, all right, now pretend he falls. Now call everyone over. Let's go, guys. And like there were a lot of really cheesy reaction shots, which I mean I would like to assume they were like reshoots. Like we just need more footage, and then we'll just go out to these parts and just get some reshoots because it was just like.
But on
The movie
those
was
days,
made
the
well.
actors did not act.
No, it was more like, it was just like, we'll set the camera up for 5 minutes and just do it. All right, he fell. He did a trick. He fell, and like just get reactions of him.
Almost like it was a workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bizarre.
It just, the rest of the movie did well, and those just didn't fit. But please continue.
Yes, and so obviously that's one of the first big rifts that we really see between these two cliques, these two niches.
Ah, Corey Webster.
How you doing? I heard you had a little accident yesterday. It was no accident, Hook, and you know it. Now put Chrissy on the phone.
And then he continues to sneak over to her house and climb a tree and then fall out of the tree.
Well, he was
to try to
dangling
see
from it
her.
for a while first.
Yeah, he just hung out there.
Just
It
peeping
was,
Tom.
He was just hanging.
He's trying to sneak peek
Very, very,
sneak peek in her window.
yeah, and she's like,
Very
you can't be
McFly.
here. My brother's here. You're gonna get me in trouble. And he's like, but I had to see you. And then Velvet, which is Hook's girl, she sees him out the window and she's like, what are you doing here? What is he doing here? And she's like, please don't tell my brother.
Don't tell Tommy, okay? Okay. Get him out of here now. Okay.
Dressed up very much like a farm girl.
Yeah, that was weird. She's the alternative.
But because she is a farm girl. She's from Indiana. That was like the whole thing. But like the whole movie, she looked like kind of a California girl. And that one scene is like, it made her look like a farm girl. Like,
Yeah.
that was funny.
And that's honestly, like, that's one of the things I noticed the most was as far as, like, the way that they designed her character and the way that she looks, the way that her hair was, the clothes that they had her wearing, she looked like the locals.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was in town visiting anyway, and she
But
was
she
moving
didn't look
away
like
to what?
she didn't
Was
look
it
like the
Minneapolis? Where was
daggers
she moving?
locals.
Indiana. But she didn't look like a dagger.
Yeah, she just looked like a local LAEN.
Yeah, it just made more sense in
She
my
looked like a
opinion.
valley, like-
She looked like a valley girl, and she fit in with the locals. And so I was just like, well, that obviously makes more sense. He's getting all weird about it. Oh, and then speaking about getting weird about things,
Rolling nipples!
he snuck her out, and they went to go to a diner, and they were like eating at the diner, like talking about stuff. And she's like, you don't have to do the downhill, or you don't have to do the joust, or whatever she was talking about. And he's like, no, I gotta do it. And then some of the daggers came in, and she was all like, oh, I'm not here, I'm hiding. And he's like, why are you being all weird? You shouldn't care, your brother thinks. Those guys are stupid. And I was all like, you had the opinion about like, well, she's uncomfortable, you guys should leave right now.
Yeah.
And then I had the opinion of, well, he's under the narrative or under the impression that she is like falling victim to someone else's beliefs and she's just doing things out of fear. And I think it's really good for him to challenge that because it's not healthy for you to just live your life under the guise of someone else's expectations. Hibbity, hibbity, wobbity.
Yeah, but if she's worried about his and her safety, I think he should. So here's where.
And that was a really good conflict because, and you both pointed out why, they were both in very different emotional places with that conflict.
Yeah.
And as a teenage boy, Josh Brolin, who has the musculature of a 34-year-old bodybuilder.
Fuck Josh Brolin?
Just did not understand where she was coming from. You know, he's a testosterone-based
care?
life form, and he's like, no, man, let's just hang out and be rad.
She sees it as, look, my brother runs a gang called the Daggers, who are violent and unsafe.
And they will stab you.
And they will attack you, and I could get hurt in the process because I'm going to step in and try and stop it.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where, okay, if we're going to dive into like characters, here's where I think her character, kind of where like I think they kind of messed up, is where, so what was her brother's name, the lead dagger?
Hook.
Oh, it was Hook, yeah. So Hook was meant to be the bad guy.
Actually,
One.
two things. No, because Monk was the other dude that got beat up.
Right.
Hook.
Yeah. So Hook was meant to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he was redeemed at the end. But I looked at him as more of a good guy because, like, I'm looking at a guy in L.A. whose sister from the farm comes to L.A., sneaks out until 5 a.m., her first time in L.A. Like, he's trying to...
Hangs out with some other skater from a different city entirely.
Like, this is like... You're from the farmland. You have no idea how dangerous this city is. You're a 17 or 18, maybe 20-year-old girl.
Probably 16, 17.
I don't know if they were in school because there were no parents around. But so in that age, girl from a small, like from Indiana, who came out to LA for the first time, and now you're sneaking out with a guy. Like, I don't know if you ever, but I worked on Hollywood Boulevard on a job at 4 a.m. They were there till 5 or 6 a.m. You don't want to be there at 4 a.m. Like. And she's there, a pretty blonde girl from the farm. Like, I see him protecting his sister really well. And her being like, you don't...
But communicating it very poorly.
Well, yeah, but like... So, I kind of see his point of view, like, you can't do this.
He thinks he's white knighting, and she thinks he's being a bully.
She thinks he's a cockblock.
Yeah.
Rolling nipples!
No, I definitely like a spin of perspective, because here I'm just like, why are you living under other people's blah-bitty-blahs? Because a lot of people do that. A lot of the times your family sets an expectation and you spend your whole life living underneath it and not being authentic to yourself. And so I'm just like, why are you letting your brother hold you down? Like, but then simultaneously, there's so much more of it than just the interpersonal relationship between her and her brother.
There's
the real world, too.
It's so fun to me that both of you are assuming the opposite of the roles. That I would, in the positions...
I'd be like, oh my God, she doesn't feel comfortable. You better respect her. And you're like, it's no big deal. Man.
Yeah. Mansplain.
But it's the other way around.
She's a strong, independent woman.
Thank you for mansplaining it to us.
You're welcome.
No,
you are so welcome.
But yeah, it's kind of neat that we're just diving into like an 80s movie and kind of dissecting the characters a little more in depth than they probably ever intended it to be.
I love doing that.
Yeah, I know, it's good.
My mom always goes, honey, it's just a movie.
As a study of human sexuality, though, Mom.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I get a little crazy when guys come around and hassle you. It's only because I care for you. I mean, you're my kid's sister.
But to me, you're more than a sister.
I mean, you're my kid's sister.
Because even you talk about...
I like the human psyche.
Given it's been a long time. I mean, it's been years since I read Romeo and Juliet. But is it the one where... It's his cousin who goes to defend him and gets killed. Mercutio, yes. Well, on this one, it's the same thing. He doesn't get killed, but he goes there to fight them as well.
Shit kicked out of him.
And then the two...
And just like Mercutio, picks a fight with somebody else, and then the big dog steps out.
Yep.
Yeah, neither of them actually fought each other because that's when he challenged him to the jousting.
Right.
And then that's when and she's like, please don't go. And he's like, I have to defend my honor and blah, blah, blah.
Or you have nothing to prove to them. If you do it, you're not going to be any better than Tommy and his friends.
Chrissy, I'm going, okay?
And then they go to the jousting thing, and he gets the absolute snot beat out of him. Which, first of all, what even were those things? Was that just a mace?
Well, it was a flail. It's a flail.
And then it had a big sand. I thought they were boxing gloves full of rocks.
With a chain, and then a bag that looked like it honestly was full of cotton batting or something. How quickly they were whipping it around.
Yeah, but they go through this
But if you wanted that effect, it would
half-pipe.
have needed to have been sand or something, or lead shot.
Yeah, considering it broke his arm.
Ooh.
Frozen butter, but what? Use frozen cubes of butter. It's cheaper.
Frozen cubes of butter.
I don't know.
And that's how you determine how long the joust is, because when it's soft, the joust is over.
Yeah, exactly. Once it goes soft, you gotta just.
Because the skateboards can't. They just start slipping everywhere because it's all buttery.
I say then you just.
If you fall in the fire, you just get a little too fried.
Oh yeah.
But you're tasty.
I love that you didn't catch my inappropriate joke there. We'll just move past it.
Oh, I didn't catch it.
I don't remember that.
When did that happen?
Yeah, where a little fight went to attempted murder.
did, yeah, because
Seriously,
they're going back
they were
and
doing
forth on
and it
the
was
little
playful, and it
half-pipes.
was this dumb man sport that made no
and then
sense.
They whack each other off the skateboard, and then he just decides, well, screw the skateboard.
I'm gonna tackle you and punch your face.
And then he like almost throws him into what, like a pit of fire? What the heck was
and
that?
then I'm gonna hit you with the wooden handle and break
and
your
break
arm.
your literal arm.
I'm gonna break your radius.
Which was not very fun.
Which was rad.
No.
Well, I mean, with the fire there, that's where the butter fight would have been really well.
Yeah.
Popcorn people.
And he broke his arm.
And that wasn't funny at all. Not
You said it was
humorous.
quite humorous, actually.
I've changed my mind. I'm allowed.
I mean, it's the wrong bone, but...
Yeah, it was. That's no one. It was this one, which is rad.
You cracked a great joke there.
Ooh!
Look at it. I suck at puns, and I even got one.
That's some breakthrough humor.
Yeah.
It's the same pun you got while we were watching it.
Okie dokie. And then little Miss Lady tried to like console him, but she got drug off into the crowd like
And he was
like,
left
like a duck on the tide.
all alone as the police showed up, like a duck on the tide.
Yes.
Is that a real phrase, or did you make that up?
I made it up.
Like a duck on the. Of course, she made it up because if a duck gets stuck in the tide, he just flies.
Right, no, but I thought maybe it was like it was meant.
There he goes.
Come back, duck.
I'll never let go, Quack.
He's like, whack, there was enough room for both of us. Whack.
This has gone very foul.
I got it. Oh, I got it. I didn't want to try to explain it and ruin the joke. I thought maybe.
I thought she'd be bored by now because she was on a board. That's what saved her was the big one.
I mean, it is a skateboarding movie.
Rolling nipples!
Everyone was on a
Okay, so
board.
let's try this again. He breaks his arm, and it wasn't funny. It was attempted murder.
It was attempted murder, and Josh Brolin stays behind, somehow doesn't get arrested by the cops.
Well, I mean, would you arrest those nipples?
Only if they were erected.
We're gonna follow Josh Brolin and beat him up now. This stupid brown nipples.
They just showed them so much. It's like they were center frame
'cause
so
you were
many
looking.
times.
It's because you wouldn't stop talking about him. It's confirmation bias. Because you're wanting to see him so much, it's all you saw. Even when he had a shirt on, you saw through his shirt and saw his nipples.
Nipples!
Like Superman X-ray vision, just looking through people's clothes.
Just like how when the girl walked on in the RV, I'm like, oh look, or in his house or whatever. Like, oh, she's not wearing any pants. Oh no, they're just orange tights.
Because you just see pantsless women everywhere.
In my line of work, I see nothing but pantsless women.
I feel significantly less creepy seeing Josh Brolin's nipples everywhere. I'm just gonna say that.
The pantsless women?
Than pantsless women.
I'm classy, I swear. I know him.
Like if you're just a guy walking around through the normal day-to-day life, and every woman appears pantsless to you, that's
Not every woman. Not every woman. Just when they're wearing flesh-colored pants.
I thought you said plants.
Plants.
We're having a really hard time staying on track. However, there was so much Josh Brolin nipple. There was
Just
so much.
In your head there was.
No, but here, this is what gets me. Like, he was so fit at whatever age he was at that point that they wanted his shirt off as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean that's a movie made for men.
Yeah.
And how are you going to attract the women?
How are you going to attract the women? With his physique. Like, he
Or
looked like
guys
he was
you,
wearing...
Or older guys like you.
Yeah. It's not even what I'm into when I'm there.
But you...
I'm living for Josh Brolin's nipples in this. I'm sorry, guys.
But like, his physique looked like a Marvel superhero suit. There was just one particular scene where it was like noon lighting about, down lighting, and all of his musculature, he was looking to the right of the camera, and his musculature looked like a V. And I was just like, that's what when I used to draw superheroes and I was into illustration, like this is the way I would try to draw the shape of muscles. But most gymnasts don't look like, there's very few humans that have musculature that looks like that. But it's what they always draw for comic book heroes.
You know what though? He looked terrible compared to that guy standing next to the skateboard ramp at the start of the movie.
That guy was jacked.
He was.
That guy was on the alcohol and cocaine diet,
Yeah.
clearly.
I love that I am the one person who's not partaking in this conversation.
Yeah, and you're the one person that would be attracted to this body
but
type.
actually,
I
no,
know,
no,
and
because,
I'm just sitting here listening to you guys gushing.
because we're just talking about physiques. It reminded me of...
Physiques and brown nipples.
You are not
Tiny
allowed to say the
brown-
word nipple anymore.
Rolling nipples!
Chest bumps.
Stop. That's a different thing.
Little booby pointers.
Oh my god.
Male booby pointers.
So he broke his arm, and
Back
then
to
he
broke
was
his
trying to retrain himself to learn to skate so that he could compete in the downhill.
And coincidentally, she drove by in a bus
while he was
training.
While
on
he had his hand all wrapped up in duct tape and his little patty pads.
I've skated before, and when I have a cast on my arm, my balance was completely thrown off.
I was going to say, public service announcement, you can't balance anymore when you've got a... Yeah. He went from being this amazing skater that in the first scene goes into Dagger's territory, does this weird flex where he like jumps up on their ramp, stops on the wall on top, looks at him and is like, later guys, and jumps over the wall to the other side, right? Like drops 20 feet and he's fine. And now he can't just skate downhill in a straight line.
And then, not to go back, right after that scene you just talked about, remember when... What do you say? Breakin's dead.
Breaking is a memory.
Right?
Yeah.
And they see the breakdancers.
Breakdancers, and they're like, Breakin's dead. Like, that's a really strong cultural statement to make.
It was just mean.
So to go into a skateboard movie and for a skateboarder to just basically kind of say, Breakin's out, we're taking
Again,
over.
maybe that was the movie.
It was kind of a jab that skateboarding
was
going to be the next best
Or the
thing.
film producer trying to say, this is going to launch people's careers. Breakdancing did that once. This movie will do this now. When they're getting ready for the final confrontation, and Hook puts on blue eye makeup. It was so 1978.
When you look at his girlfriend, her makeup and all that. That was Madonna's era. That was what they did.
That was sick as shit. But did the guys do that during that era?
Adamant. Just I remember this from skating when I was younger in late 80s, early 90s. The colors. One thing I'll give especially 80s skate culture, how fucking bright and colorful everything was.
Yeah.
Everything was bright.
So neon.
The clothes were bright. Everything was really bright.
Vibrant.
Yes, the clothing colors, even I got an old Vision shirt on wearing all the Vision Street stuff was really bright. The Bones logo was bright.
In all honesty, it ends pretty quickly because he trains for the downhill, and then they do the downhill, and then he outskates everybody, and he wins, and he gets the girl, and then her brother goes, "This man's a maniac, good skating," and that's their resolution.
Your boyfriend here's a lunatic. Good race. All right.
Appreciate how insane you are. We can be friends now.
And then credits. It's so fast because it literally is 10 minutes of just footage. It's just 10 minutes of footage and people flying in random directions
and one dude actually launching off the road over the ledge and catching himself as he slides down the side of the hill.
Yeah.
That's almost a cliff.
Straight up. And so he outskates Hook.
So basically, what you're saying, the climax is very long, and then the resolution is just over.
Yeah, pretty
Thanos.
much. He sees that the girl's in the crowd because she had originally tried to go back to Indianapolis?
They just said Indiana.
Indiana. I do that every time. She was
enough.
going back
It's
to
in this.
Indiana, but then she changed
It's a
her
flyover
mind and
state.
she got off the bus, the same bus she drove past him training on, and then hitchhiked her way all the way back, which, by the way, she showed a lot of leg to do that. And he said, "How did you get here?" And she said,
How'd you get back?
"Don't ask."
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know. We know.
We all know the rules
so
of the road.
she hitchhiked all the way back, and she was in the crowd, and she saw him win, and he's like, "Oh my God, yay!" And then they went, "Mwah, mwah, mwah," and then that was the credits.
This
baby birdie.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
So we'll wrap up because it is getting kind of late. How would you like to start? Would you like to start with your thoughts on would you recommend Thrashin?
I think I would. Honestly, the energy in this movie is very similar to a lot of the stuff that I watched growing up, like Euro Trip and other
that
ones.
explains a lot.
Eurotrip was actually pretty funny.
It was really funny.
But like, I mean, I even grew up playing like Tony Hawk Skater Pro, and so like a lot of what was in this just felt very close to home to me, and it felt nostalgic, even though I've never seen it, because it was just hitting a lot of those notes that I was familiar with as a kid, and so I would suggest it, honestly. I don't know if the people I would suggest it to would get it because they're not from the same pool as me, but I really liked it.
I'd suggest it conditionally.
Lower your voice. I don't think the microphone's gonna pick that up.
I would suggest it conditionally.
Rolling nipples!
Yeah, it just depends on the vibe. This movie has a vibe. If that vibe is around, I will immediately say, you know what we should watch. This movie is gonna fall into the same category as Point Break, and which also has the Red Hot Chili Peppers in it, or at least Anthony Kiedis.
That would be.
But this movie falls in that kind of category. Like there's a niche, there's a vibe, there's an energy to this film, and if you're in that vibe, then yeah, I would recommend this film. If somebody's looking for a skater film that represents what skating kind of looked like in the 80s, I'd point them at this and say this is a melodramatic version of that.
This movie stood up better than I remembered, because I haven't seen this movie in a long time. Gleaming the Cube didn't stand up as well as I think Thrashin did. I thought Thrashin was going to be more cheesy, because I remember being really cheesy, but I ended up enjoying it a lot more. It was a lot fun.
That cheesy.
It wasn't. It was, like we said, very Romeo and Juliet story, bright colors, good skating, good skating of the time.
Was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
The costuming was a little cheesy.
The Dagger's costume was cheesy, but everyone else, bright, colorful, like 80s skate clothing was perfect. It all fit. The Dagger's fit, they were just exaggerated.
Exaggerated.
Yeah,
that whole character, Hook, like he was so homoerotic.
The raccoon William Wallace blue makeup. It was exaggerated, but overall, like, is this a movie I should say you should just check out and watch? No. Is it a fun movie that you watch if you need something to do? When it's on Amazon streaming or something, you need something to watch, without a doubt, put it on. It's a fun movie. I really enjoyed it. There's nothing in it that is, there's a mild sex scene, like a PG-13 sex scene, but there's nothing really bad in it. No really bad language. No, a little bit of violence, but him breaking his arm.
Okay, listen, there are entirely too many Brolin nipples.
Rolling nipples!
I said you weren't allowed to say that word anymore.
Bripples. There are entirely too many bripples.
Rolling nipples!
But I think we wrap these two up. I think this was a very successful Skatemas. I love Skatemas now.
Skatemas is pretty great. I've had a great time.
Yeah. Anybody want to say any final goodbyes?
Bye.
Any cool looks you want to do and do your flappy arms?
I'm gonna be so cool. Everybody loves flappy arms.
I got big sleeves.